What's up, guys? I'm Grayson.
And I'm Tyke.
Welcome back to another episode of the ClearCut podcast. I guess it's episode 5.
Episode 5.
It's been the morning. It is Monday. I thought it would be an awesome idea to bring my wife and my kid to church today just to get out of the house while we film this. And for the first time ever, my kid crapped up her back. And we didn't have an extra outfit or anything, so that was fun. So yeah, that's how my day's been so far. What about you?
Yeah. So I waited too long to get my car inspected. So my license plate is right now expired. I went to go get my car inspected this morning. I had to get 2 new tires, and so I guess it could have been better.
Yeah.
Could have not spent as much money as I did.
Yeah, I got rent due today.
It is the first of the month, isn't it?
It just all goes away. Sunday was good. Brought my kid to church. We kind of skipped the songs just because it's kind of loud. And then sermon was good. We're in full swing. 3 services.
Yes, and our 3rd service this week. I mean, we're getting good numbers. I mean, this last week I think it was over 200 at the 3rd service. It was at like 100 last week. So
yeah, it looked bigger. That's for sure. What are we talking about today, man?
So today we're going to talk about going back to church after you have walked away. So when you've walked away from your faith, what the road looks like to get back into the swing of things, get back into church. And we've both been there.
Yeah.
And we both realize that it can be hard, it can be scary, and that sometimes it's hard for the people of the church to accept you.
Yeah. So I was, when I completely walked away, I guess I was going into my junior year, because that's when I left this area and moved. And I was by myself. I was in Florida, went to high school, whatever. Didn't take a car down there because everything was just on campus. If we had to go somewhere, if I wanted to go somewhere, we would just Uber. But I wasn't going to Uber to church on a Sunday morning, right. I was all on my own, didn't have to do that anymore. Plus, like, practice on Saturday, like Sunday was really the only day we had where it was like, cool, I don't have anything to do besides homework, which I wasn't going to do anyway.
Right.
So I wasn't going to wake up early, get ready, go to church, Uber back. Yeah, it's just not worth my time. Is
right.
What I was thinking. Plus, I didn't know where to go. I didn't have any friends that would want to go, so I wasn't going to go by myself. I moved back here, and I felt that I should find a church, and this is the first one we went to. And there was something just special about it. I guess some of the songs they were singing weren't like 30 years old. They were new, everything. There were younger people. There's a good mix of just everything I guess I could look for in a church. But still getting involved or whatever was weird. We kind of talked about this before. I didn't jump into anything, didn't get involved. I was just a Sunday person. There's a few people I recognized because of the church we went to before I moved. They kind of switched and came here. Yeah. But they were kind of older than me. They were kind of around my uncle's age. So I wasn't involved very much. There was a kind of a friend group that I got involved with early on when I was here. But as I got deeper and deeper with them, it wasn't the best influences either. And, which was fine with me because I wasn't doing the best things I could. But, looking back, it's like, that wasn't good. But now, this is where we are. Same place, new building, different friends, and a lot more of them, from all age ranges. My closest friends are a little younger than me. Obviously, you're 21, 22.
Yep.
And everyone else is a little younger than that. But then, there's still those people that you can go up to and have that conversation with, or, need someone there for you and things like that, or prayer. And they're always there. It's pretty crazy to see. I've definitely never seen that in a church before, I don't think.
And like amongst young people, it's strange.
Yeah.
Because in society, where we are in that age group where you start to look for different things. And, like we are of the legal age to drink. A lot of our age demographic on a Friday or Saturday night, they are out with their friends at the bars.
And then there's us chilling on the couch with our wives.
Right.
Like, that's pretty weird, you know? Like, I never thought I'd be there this young.
Yeah. And, I mean, I remember when we were having discussions on starting the 4-1 ministry here at Connection Point, and we were starting it for that very reason, because in our age graphic, in our demographic, we are searching, we're going to college, we're searching for things to fill the God-sized hole in our hearts. And it's really easy in today's society to find those things in worldly things.
Yeah, I think temptation is just big for everybody. You even see it in churches. I know it's probably not discussed and doesn't want to be discussed often, but from divorce, just because of men or women being tempted with others, and just drug. I mean, anything. You can be tempted by anything. We know that. But I think a lot of people also blame God for tempting them. Like, they think every single time it's God tempting them in that situation too. Yeah. And I don't know.
It's temptation is not from God. Like
right.
look at the first time we see temptation in the Bible, right? It is Adam and Eve, and the serpent, Satan, tempts Eve. So we know from then that temptation isn't from God. Testing is from God, but temptation is not from God. Temptation is of this world. Temptation is of Satan. And that right there, like divorce, like what you said, causes a ton of people to leave the church.
Yeah.
Like they'll get, say, like a man and a wife, right? They're coming to church. They split up. They get a divorce. One of them may stay,
but the other one's probably
going to go,
or at least the same service.
In all reality, the woman's going to stay, because in a lot of marriages, the wife is taking the man to church, and then the man is going to leave.
Yeah.
So many cases of that in our church right now.
Yeah, I think the tempter tempts, right? I don't think God tempts. I think he can test, like you said. Like, let's see, are you good in faith, right? Like, are you where you think you are? And God knows that answer already. I think the test is more for us, right? Because if we...
he's testing character, not like sin.
Yeah, because if we fail at that, then that's us looking at ourselves, being convicted, and looking at it like, dang, I still have a lot of room to grow in this area. Yeah. God knew you were going to fail, or you were going to pass that quote-unquote test. But when we look at temptation, whether it's worldly things or, hey, I could sleep on this one day off, or go to church on this Sunday, things like that. I think that temptation that's strictly from the devil. I don't think God's tempting you,
Yeah. And I love that you brought that up, because something that I have harped on in the last year or so to the people that are close to me is the fact that sleep is a temptation. I mean, we can look at Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane right before he's getting ready to be taken by the Romans. The two disciples, it's Peter and I can't remember the other one he brought with him, but he asked them to stay awake, stay vigilant while I go over here and pray. And he went back to them 2 times, and they were sleeping. They were tempted with sleep in the moment where God himself was asking them to be praying.
Yeah, that'd definitely be me.
Yep.
Definitely. I'd knock out. I don't know though. Like, if Jesus was walking up to me and telling me that, I mean, I'd probably walk around or something, like I'd try not to just doze off.
Yeah, doze off.
Doze off.
But yet again, like, I would love to say that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like the Adam and Eve scenario that we talked about.
Yeah. I think for them, they were just used to, Jesus at that point, right? Like if you walked in the door and was like, don't fall asleep, and that's the first time I've ever seen in my life, like, I'm probably not falling asleep.
Yeah, you bet.
But if we hung out, like, we're boys, like, which we probably should be anyway, but like, actually, like, visually, I'd probably, fall asleep at that point too. Just got too comfortable, that's another good topic. Holy cow, look where this is going.
Amen.
I think getting too comfortable in Christianity is probably the worst sin that you could have.
Yeah, because in most scenarios, when you get too comfortable in Christianity, you're getting too comfortable in the traditions and the religion of Christianity rather than the relationships of Christianity.
Do you think it's worse to not go to church or worse to be too comfortable in church? I feel like it's worse to be too comfortable, right? You're going, but you're not getting anything out of it anyway, and you're just going through the motions. I feel like you're just wasting time at that point.
Yeah, because if you're not going to church, there are so many people who do not go to church because of church hurt. Yet they still have they have a better relationship with Jesus than the people who are front row on Sunday.
Right. I'm not saying you have to go to church to go to heaven and be a Christian, yada yada yada, but I am saying the connections you can make at church and the friendships you can have at church definitely make you a stronger Christian.
Yeah. The reason for the modern church today is to, one, go and get fed, and two, create relationships, because we are not called to do life alone.
Right.
God never told anyone to do life alone. Look at Adam, right? He did not only make Adam, he realized Adam would be alone, and so he took part of Adam's side and made Eve.
Yeah, I heard something. I don't know if this was maybe in Chris's sermon yesterday or if this was something I just heard. But I heard that God never sent anyone out when it was less than two people.
Yep. Never sent anyone out alone.
I don't know who said that. It
was Pastor Chris in his sermon yesterday.
See, I do listen, Chris, if you're watching. But no, I mean, that's huge, right? Because if you're tempted, you're going to be tempted when you're alone.
Yep.
Everybody knows that. If you're a dude and you're alone and you're in high school or college and it's your room at night, like every dude's tempted and every dude's been there.
Yep. And they're going to get on certain websites.
Yeah, 100%.
Like
no questions asked.
Yeah,
like 100%.
We were in those shoes before.
Yeah.
So you talked about you're going away and you're coming back. So I want to say mine only because I've told you one thing that I'm going to say, but I want to tell the viewers because it's very important for them to hear, and it's very important for them to see that people can change. So like you left in your junior year, I left the church in like my sophomore year, but it wasn't only me, my family left. And I was living, I would like to say I was living a life of sin. And I mean, we are all
still are.
Yeah, we're all sinning, but like when Disciple Now would still roll around, I would go to that.
Right.
With my friends from high school, and I would say I was a Christian. Of course, I did not have a relationship. I was not listening to I was not listening to Christian music. I was not like listening to sermons. I was not praying.
Were you convicted during that time?
I'll be completely honest. When I watched porn in that time, yes. But really anything else, I don't think so.
Yeah, and not to get too off topic, but I'm kind of in that same boat, or I was, not am. Certain things would convict me, certain things wouldn't, which was also, now looking back, like that's scary.
Yeah.
Like I got to the point where like when it came to drug use and stuff like that, it no longer was convicting. Maybe the only time it was convicting is when I got caught, or if I thought I was going to get caught, or if I was in public and walking around high and I was like nervous I was going to get in trouble. Like I'd feel bad, but that was because I was going to get caught.
Yeah.
And things like that. But like cussing, music, none of that really affected me. It convicts me more now. Like if I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't listen to this, whatever.
Yeah. Or
if a word slips, I'm just like, one, I'm going to hear it from my wife, and then two, I already feel bad about it. But yeah, go ahead. I was just curious.
So then, we talked about it in our first episode. My wife invited me back to church. That was our first time we hung out. And, from then on, that first night I rededicated my life. And then it was around the following like Valentine's Day was when like I was in my bed and I told God that I wanted to serve him. And then it took until the following summer to finally get plugged in and leading within that time the youth group. But like I said, I've told you this. Whenever you walked in, to church and I saw you that first day. Yeah.
Oh.
Like, I remember the first day you walked in, especially like when you walked out, because I saw your truck.
I'm sure you had a bunch of thoughts. I was like, most people do.
Like, that dude's just a douche. Like, that's literally what I
say
thought.
That word, but I didn't know we were going there with that.
If anything, we can just leave
I don't care. That's
so,
a good word for me.
Right. At the time.
Yeah. Like,
so,
I'll take it.
Like I said at the beginning of the episode, there are people who are scared to go back to church because of the way that the church people are going to treat them. Mm-hmm. I was one of those church people that treated you, even though we didn't talk, like, I thought about you in a certain way. And
most people did. Like, even my wife, like, she saw me in the truck I had one time. If I can figure it out, I'm not good at this stuff, but I will try and post a picture on this video. We'll see if I can figure out how to do that.
Of your truck.
If not, sorry. But yeah, like, she saw me driving one time, and her and her entire family just made fun of it. You know, whatever.
Just think, like,
I never cared.
If any of you viewers know what, like, Southeast Missouri is like, think about rich kid with a lifted truck.
But, like, then times that lifted truck by like 3.
Yeah, it was sweet. It was just like,
what are you doing?
You knew, it was like you had in the back of your mind, that kid is just like I said, a douche.
That was a fun time in life. It was cool. I'm one of those people that just tell me I can't do something and I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. I don't know how old I was. I'm bad at ages and numbers and years, but
like when you started your truck?
I was after high school. I graduated at 18, so I was 19. And my mom sold my car that I had whenever I was in high school, my sophomore year, because I moved to Florida. So she was like, "You don't need your car," whatever. She sold it, and then once I graduated and came back home, she got me another vehicle, completely stock, very boring, ugly truck. And then I decided to go work 3 jobs, live at home, and spend all my money on a vehicle, which was pretty dumb. But I went to a truck show. It's called SEMA, SEMA, and it's in Las Vegas. And I mean, I think there's only been 1 or 2 other like 19-year-olds to ever go there and actually like do that. It's one of the biggest car truck venue shows, trade shows like in the world. Yeah. And I got the opportunity to go do that. So that was super, super cool. You know, nothing godly about it, but it was a cool experience. And just most people laughed and didn't think you could do it. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to go do this and show everybody. But for some reason, I think God did play a small role in that. And I don't know why, and it might not be true. It could have just been a crazy coincidence, but my plan was to go to SEMA, the truck show with my truck, like in 2 years. I went to a different show, and then these people invited me to SEMA, and I was just like, there's no way. Like, because I'd have to spend a lot more money to get a lot more things done to this vehicle a lot faster than I planned. Like, instead of a year, I had like 4 months to do everything. Wow. And I was just like, yeah, I'll do it, whatever. And so I got to go, whatever. And then that next year, the year I wanted to go, COVID happened, and they didn't have a show. Oh, man. So could have just been coincidence. I don't know why God maybe did that just to get me out of it, like do it and then be done, not waste another year of my life doing that. But it was cool to be able to do that and then see that, wow, whenever I was even going to try and do this, it didn't work out. Yeah. But yeah.
Yep. So now I have I am burdened for people that have those testimonies like us, where they have left church and they want to come back, because I have a very close family member who was hurt by the church, and she, part of the reason why she refuses to come back to church is because of that hurt, and because of the way that she was treated right before she left. There's so many people like that. I mean, we talked about just yesterday about a dude that I prayed with not too long ago, and he told me that, oh man, I'm kind of getting emotional right now. I grew up with this kid. He has had a troubled past. But he told me then that he was going to come back to church, and this has been, I don't know, like a month and a half, but he was with his girlfriend. His girlfriend's dad had just died, and what she said broke me. She said, or I don't even know if she said it, he said it, but we've been trying so hard to do the right things. But it seems like every time we take a step forward, something happens and we have to take a step back.
Been there.
And this is a crazy praise report because, you know, I've had this dude on my heart for so long, and it was either 2 days ago or just yesterday, I saw that he had shared one of our shorts.
Oh, really?
And then yesterday, as I was leaving church, I saw him walking with his girlfriend. And like I said, like, I'm getting so emotional because I was starting to think that he wasn't going to come back.
Yeah.
And I was going to reach out to him, but then he did. And I know that God has such a big plan for him if he can just lean in, because he has got a crazy testimony through this church. Like, he was going to this church for forever. He left. I worked with him in a secular job, and so I know, like, the things that he was doing, the things that he was up to, and now that he's back, I know that God has such a big plan for him if he can just lean in. If you're watching, if you can just lean in right now to what God has for you, anyone, but I'm specifically talking to this guy. I have a really strong feeling that God is going to put you into places, put you into positions that you never thought were possible. And like I said, that goes to anyone.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I was, a year ago selling solar, you know, living a great life as I guess I'm 23, so I was 21, 22, on top of the world. You know, like, the only way I feel like I was going to make more money than I was like if I would have made it to the NBA or something. You know, like, that's the only way I'd be more balling. Like, I was like, dang, I'm going to, like, buy a second house someday, like, on an island or whatever. Like, that was my dreams. Like, that's what I want.
And I know, like, there's no need for you to say the number, but I even feel to, like, this day, like what you said, there is nothing else that I could do to, like, make more money that would, like, that I could possibly do. Like, you've told me the number. It is insane. Like, I cannot fathom making that much money.
I can't fathom making more, right? Like, if I've heard what my family's ever made or someone's ever made, like, I can't fathom it. Like, it just doesn't, that number doesn't even make sense.
No.
But, like, once you've made a certain number, obviously that part makes sense.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't anymore. Like, I'm like, there's no way that's going to happen again. But I learned yesterday that, like, making money is almost a type of a spiritual gift.
Yeah.
I don't know how that was worded.
Yeah. So we were talking about one of the people in our church, one of the leaders in our church, and it was Pastor Darren that said it. But there are some people who have the gift to just always, like, make money, to always have money, you know, whether that's they're good at investing, they're good at side hustles, whatever it is, they just always seem to have money.
Yeah. And then that was kind of the first time I think it kind of clicked with me. One, that was kind of a gift, and two, just trying to figure out my own spiritual gifts. Like, I think I'm a good communicator. Doesn't mean I really like communicating, but I enjoy making money. Yeah. I think most people do. If you don't, you're probably lying. Like,
right.
Flat out.
Well, okay. I think everyone enjoys making money, but people don't enjoy the work to have to make the money.
Not many people enjoy that.
Right.
I enjoy that to an extent. It depends what it is, right? Like, if I had to go do the dishes at my mom's house, you know, 6 times a day for some money, like, I wouldn't want to do it. Like, I don't care how much she's paying me. That sounds horrible. I don't want to do it at my own house. I don't want to get paid for it. Nothing. But if it's something I enjoy, 100%, I'm all about it. But I think I finally kind of learned at least one of my spiritual gifts, and it is that, like, I can always figure it out. Like, someone in my family even told me that, like, they're not really worried about me making it, like, even if I'm kind of struggling right now, because they're like, you'll figure it out. Like, you're not, you know, you have it in you to figure it out, make something happen, whatever. So that's pretty cool, I guess. I mean, it's kind of a boring but cool gift, I guess. Yeah. This is an interesting podcast.
This is. We've gone off on, like, so many branches.
Yeah.
But I think we're still on the tree. I don't think we've, like, jumped. I don't think
We're not on the ground.
Yeah.
We went to Temptation. I really liked hitting that.
Yeah.
And we also hit something else right after that. I don't remember what it was.
But I'm gonna go back to
leaving church.
Yeah. Well, it's coming back because, like we said, it can be scary.
No, it is most definitely.
You know, you are, especially if you're going back to the same church. People tend to know what you did when you were away from church. Like, they'll keep up with you on social media, and you know, if you're posting the things you're doing when you're away from church and you're living a life for the world and living a life of sin, then like they are automatically going to judge you when you come back.
Yeah.
Regardless of if they, even if they don't think they're judging you, like in their mind, they're like, wow, he's here?
Yeah. I think that was for me a lot. Like, what's this guy doing here? Yeah. Like, this is not his realm. This is not his type of people. This is not his place. This is, it wasn't either. You know, this new building was a little bit more my style than what we were walking into there. But and I didn't know like really many people. I think more people knew me than that's still that way. Kind of when I go places, I don't really know many people, but they somehow know me from family or social media or whatever. And it's either a really good thing or a really bad thing. Yeah. You know, if you're trying to make connections, it's a good thing. But if you're living like I was, it's probably not the best thing.
Right.
You know.
And right now, we as a church, and I don't know about any other churches really in the community or all around the world, but I know for Connection Point in particular, we are seeing a ton of new people coming into the church. You know, they may have been churched in the past and then they left. They may be completely unchurched and they're coming for the first time into a church. But we are seeing an influx of those people right now. And something that I love is the fact that this kind of thing isn't only on my heart, but also on other people's. We were, it was the week, I believe it was the week before we went to 3 services, the rehearsal for that weekend. We were talking about the weekend coming up, and I think it was either, I don't know, maybe it was the week before Easter. It was in the last month or so. But one of the ladies on the worship team said something along the same lines. She said, I love that we're seeing so many new people. I'm just afraid that the religious people are going to reject them.
Yeah, I think something that kind of came in my head is if your church is full of Christians, you're probably doing something wrong.
Yep.
You know, the more lost people that are there, the more you're growing, the better things are probably going to go for you. Christians are sometimes the worst people you ever meet.
Yep.
Especially when it comes to that judgmental side. I mean, I catch myself doing it sometimes. I'm not a very judgmental person. Like, I might make a joke or something, but like I'll even say it to that person and just like to be funny, you know, and tell them I'm just kidding. But that's just how I am. Like, if I'm mean to you, not mean, but if I'm like making jokes about you and we're having a good time, that means I probably like you. If I'm just nice to you all the time, 1, I don't know you, or 2, that's probably when I'm just like, not my kind of person.
Right.
But I always feel like when I see, every once in a while I'll see someone in church that I feel like I'm just supposed to go talk to or connect with, or sometimes even just walk by and they say something to me because I didn't say anything to them, but I felt that I was supposed to like connect with them, but like I didn't know what to say and I got too nervous, whatever.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It happened one time. As most people know, I like shoes, so I had on like a pair of Jordans or something, and I felt like all I had to do was walk by this one guy, and he'd say something because of the shoes I had on, and that would start the conversation. And so literally all I did was walk in front of him, and he was walking out of the sanctuary or whatever we call it here, worship center.
Yeah.
And like he said, "Hey, those are cool," you know, and then it started that conversation. So sometimes, you know, things you like, other people like, you know, I don't know where I'm going with that, but just when I see somebody that looks alone, or like they've probably only been here a couple times and they're sitting by themselves, you know, I feel like those are the people we need to just go find, which is easy to do from a sound booth looking down. But yeah, that's kind of like my favorite thing, I think, is like that dude's been here like 2 weeks in a row. Haven't seen anybody with him.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to get talked to, just not even religiously, just
Right.
something. Just, hey, how's it going, man? I saw you here 2 weeks in a row. You know, you never know what that might lead. Like, hey, that dude noticed me, you know, something like
Yeah.
that.
It could, like that very thing could lead to, you know, a conversation like, hey man, I need you to pray for me. Or, hey man, I've been thinking about giving my life to Jesus. And you, like we talked about, I think it was on our second episode, in that moment, in that very first conversation, you sowed a seed.
Mm-hmm.
You planted a seed, and it was able to grow, and then if those other conversations end up coming up, that's you watering your seed and trying to take care of that seed that you sowed.
Yeah, one of the guys that I've used to talk to a little bit, I reached back out to him the other day. Me and Hannah were kind of just talking about him, and I was like, well, I planned on going back to the gym this week and stuff just to get back in shape. And I was like, I'll text this guy and see if he wants to go again. And so I texted him, and then later after that, this person's wife messaged me and was like, this is going to sound crazy, but like me and him were just talking about like godly things, like his views and things like that. And they said it just kind of got not heated or anything, just quiet, I guess you could say. And then she said like within 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, that's when I texted him.
Wow.
You know, so that was pretty cool to see, you know, God's just his hand in that, orchestrating that to come back together and hopefully, you know, be a good witness to him and get him on the right path. It's not a walk away from church kind of thing, but it's, I guess, as close as you can get to it, right? Like he still attends church, but let's just say if he was single and by himself, would he probably come to church? I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
But being married and kids and things like that, you know, they do, or he comes with them. But there's no relationship there either, right? And I'm not saying it's one of those things where it's like he's the church goer and he's, I don't know how I phrased it earlier. Is it better to be someone that doesn't go to church or someone that's comfortable in church? I wouldn't say he's comfortable. He probably feels pretty weird and doesn't like being here. So it's not like he's just showing up, going through the motions. You know, he's really searching, I think, but just doesn't know what he feels, doesn't know what he believes. Yeah. So that's always a really, really tough one, because you can tell them certain things, you know, but they just don't know. And they used to believe, you know, kind of what we do, but you know, now that he's older or whatever, has his own views and values and just doesn't feel the Spirit as he has put it before. Right. Which is a tough one, because I feel like I felt that a long time in my life, like being saved or not, like I knew there was a Spirit of God. I felt the Spirit of God. I've heard the Spirit of God, you know, at a young age. So like I always knew that was there. My beliefs never changed. I just didn't care, which is probably worse than just like thinking you're right and believing something else.
Well, something like
I do, but I don't.
Like that moment, like you said, he doesn't know he doesn't know the Spirit, right? He doesn't feel the Spirit. Yeah. A lot of times people base their faith, their Christianity off of moments, off of experiences, you know, whether that's a church service you went to and you started crying, like you felt something, right? It was a spirit you were feeling, but you just felt something. Or you go to a concert, and like a Christian concert, and the worship really gets to you. You go and see a Christian speaker, and what they said really gets to you, and you get emotional, and you get emotionally attached to your faith. The problem with that is that emotions fade away, and it's kind of like, at that point, emotions are kind of like a drug, because you're constantly going to try to be chasing that feeling, that emotion that you felt that first time. When Christianity cannot be based on emotion, it has to be based on faith.
Yeah, I think I recently just got comfortable with that. Like if I don't feel the Spirit of God every single weekend, that's okay. Yeah. But I've also learned that just because I don't feel the Spirit as heavily as I did the week before or the month before, it doesn't mean I still don't worship and raise my hands. Yep. One, because I don't worship and raise my hands just because I feel the Spirit of God. It's because I love God, right? I want to show him that and give him my all in the moment.
Yeah.
But another reason I do it regardless is because what if no one in the building's doing it but you, and that makes someone else comfortable to do it, like for their first time? Because that was me. I always felt awkward before I just completely sold out, I think. Felt awkward doing it. Like I wanted to be that person. And I was like, I'm good. Even if everybody did it, it didn't feel good. Yeah. So I think that's another reason to worship, even when you just don't feel like it. It's like going to the gym. It's like, dang, I feel like going every single day, and then this one day hits, and like the day you need to go the most is the day that you don't feel like going.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with religion. It's like, just because you felt the Spirit of God for 4 years straight, then one day you think, man, it's just not there today. No, it's there. You know, it's just, what if that person needs the Spirit of God right now more than you do?
Yeah.
I don't know, just a way to look at it.
And a lot of people come to church seeking to feel the Spirit of God.
Coming expecting.
When the church in itself is just a body of believers. Yes, the Bible does say that God inhabits the praises of his people. So when people come together to praise God, the Spirit of God is there. The Bible also says, where two or more gather there, I will be also. But because of Jesus, if we have accepted Jesus into our hearts and declare that he is Lord of Lords, he is King of Kings, and we have given our lives to him, we now have the Holy Spirit inside of us. We don't have to wait until Sunday to go and get fed, to go and feel the Spirit. We can feel the Spirit at any moment of our lives. Yet there are still so many people who feel that way, that you can only feel the Spirit on Sunday, and then you get fed, and then throughout the week it's just a steady decline, and then a steep incline on Sunday, and then again a steady decline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you left church, come back.
Yes.
But come back for the right reasons. Don't do it to go through the motions.
Mm-hmm.
Do it to build a relationship, but also to build connections with the people around you.
Yeah.
Good friends, people that love you, love your relationship with Christ, and want to just see you grow and do better.
And find someone who's already going to church, and then go with them. Yeah. It's so intimidating to go alone, really, into anything in life. And so if you're completely okay with doing everything by yourself, yeah, go and find a church where you're comfortable at.
But something else that like drives me nuts too is like, get out of a relationship and get yourself right first.
Yes, if the relationship that you're in is causing you to sin, and you don't have the courage or the strength to cut all the sin life off and just live a godly relationship, then yes, get out of the relationship. Yeah. It's doing no good for you. Drives
me nuts.
Yep.
Temptation, covered that a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think we can make that our own episode.
Yeah. I want to give some advice to the church people, to the religious people, like we talked about. Try not to judge. Yeah. Try your hardest not to judge. Whenever you see someone who you know is living a life of sin coming back to church, embrace them, invite them in. They are searching for something, like I said, to fill a God-shaped hole in their heart. And I don't want you, if you're a religious person, I don't want you to be the reason why they leave again. Mm-hmm. Because
for the first time.
Right. Because that may be the last time they step foot in a church, and they may die on their way home.
Yeah. I challenge myself, if I catch myself, or if I see myself judging somebody like in my own head, I challenge myself to go up to them and compliment them about something.
That's good.
That'd be hard, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be good for them. You know, they'd probably be like, that's weird, but thanks. Yeah, but I think that'd be a super strong way to grow in that. Because that makes anybody uncomfortable, like walking up to someone you don't know and just complimenting them. That's kind of weird. I mean, I don't want to do that, you know?
Right.
So I better stop judging people. Temptation, judgment, leaving church, coming back to church.
Yeah.
Relationships, all this stuff.
Yeah, a lot of stuff today.
Do better.
Yeah.
I got to do better.
I have to too. No one's perfect. Don't ever look at
Yeah.
Don't ever look at someone who is in authority as better than you, because everyone struggles.
And you'll just be let down.
Yeah. Even pastors struggle with sin every day.
Yeah.
No, like pastors may not struggle with the same sins as some of you watching struggle with, but there are still moments where Satan momentarily wins and they give into temptation.
Yeah.
But they're human. God never said that a pastor has to be over sin. God knows none of us can be over sin. We're always going to struggle.
Yep. Well, man, I think that wraps up the day.
Yep.
I appreciate you guys for watching episode 5. Next week will be episode 6. Crazy.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend, because this will be posted on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Grayson. That's Tyke. This is the ClearCut podcast. I hope you share it if you found something valuable and you learned something.
Yep.
Please like it. Please subscribe. Hit notify bell so you know every single time a video is posted. And we'll catch you guys next Friday at 10 a.m. Peace.
Peace.